Spin that intro thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Man.
Eureka.
We make plays every day, yeah.
We got a special episode on this one.
We make plays every day.
We got the savior on this one.
Plays every day, we make plays every day, we make plays every day, we make plays every day,
Hey.
we make plays every day.
Hey, welcome to the Real Fantasy Playmakers. I am your host, Bogie Scott Free. And today, we got a very special guest host. He's a real ism spitter. He's a motherfucker who's a factor in the game. You know what I'm saying? He's arguably got the baddest mustache in the game. Hands down the best mustache in the game. Like it reminds me of the throwback Jefferson's joint. You know, the George Jefferson joint. Probably because he's moving on up in the game. You know what I'm saying? And this is fantasy football isms. And in the fantasy football world, we need a savior. And that's why I'm bringing to you, Playmakers, the fantasy football lord. What's happening?
What it do, man? I can't call it, man. Hey, that right, man. Just like George Jefferson with that thick ass mustache, I'm moving on up.
He moving on up. You know what I'm saying? All right, well, check this out. You know what I'm saying? My man, the fantasy football lord, he's definitely one of the baddest motherfuckers in the game. And you know what I'm saying? We're gonna drop some straight isms. And before we get to all that, we're gonna go ahead and handle this quick housekeeping. Follow me at the GMM Network on Twitter and IG. Go ahead and follow me also on IG at Bogie Scott Free World. We want to shout out our sponsor, Milk and Honey TX, for all your CBD wellness and all your CBD goodness. Visit milkandhoneytx.com. Also want to shout out to the Rum Boys Fantasy Network. You know what I'm saying? Everybody make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube / the Rum Boys Fantasy Network. Also subscribe to us to YouTube / the GMM Network. We also want to shout out our sponsor Milk and Honey. I already said that one. We want to shout out our sponsor Monkey Knife Fight. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and get on monkeyknifefight.com. Enter promo code RUMBOYS, all caps. You know what I'm saying? And we'll match your first deposit all the way up to $50. Don't fuck around. Drop that 50 and get that hundo to play with. We got UFC coming back. We got football on the way. We speaking it into existence. You know what I'm saying? I know with this crazy world we living in, they putting our football in jeopardy. They putting our livelihoods in jeopardy. Matter of fact, more importantly, you know what I'm saying? But like them Atlanta Falcons, we will rise up. You know what I'm saying? And you like how I see how I did that? You know what I mean?
Right.
You feel me? And you know what I'm saying? With our special guest host for the evening, you know, go ahead and let them know where to find you, my brother.
Hey, well, first off, it originally find me was Clayton County, South Side of Atlanta Metro. As far as all the content and stuff, Instagram at Fantasy Football Lord, TikTok at Fantasy Football Lord, and on Twitter, Lord Don't Lose, because they don't let me have that many characters.
Yeah, but you know the Lord don't lose though. That is facts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and if it is, man, and if it do go down like that, that's sparingly. You feel me?
You feel me? All right, well check this out. You know what I'm saying? You know, I want to get the Playmakers a little more familiar with you. You know what I'm saying? You know, because we got the Lord, and they got to praise the Lord. And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And in order to do that, I want you to let them know a little bit about yourself. I mean, I know you did touch on a little bit where you're from, but more important, you know, I also want you to, you know, let them know how you started saving this fantasy world. You know what I'm saying? Like,
So I played college football. Back in my day, I played three years of college football.
Mm-hmm.
Always loved the game. Always studied the game. The nuances. little things, that positions that people don't care about, like defensive tackle or offensive guard. I always study that, even throughout the years that I was playing, and then as I become a young adult, I stopped playing the game. I always thought fantasy football was just like kind of whack. That shit was corny, like for some dorks and people who grew up where I grew up at don't play no damn fantasy football. You feel me?
And you ain't lying. I barely got into this joint like 7 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like I used to think it was corny too. I was like, you know what I mean? But yeah, go ahead, continue.
Yeah. So exactly. So I thought it was like fantasy football, blah, blah, whatever. I ended up moving to a completely different region, different culture up here in North New Jersey. Definitely a culture shock for me from how I grew up.
Yeah, coming from the A.
Yeah, for sure. So I ended up playing on this little bootleg men's football team. I met some dudes who became friends. They got me in a fantasy football league, and I won the first year.
You started killing them right out the gate.
Yeah, I ain't even played my first year till I think it was 2012. Yeah, so 2012 I played my first fantasy football league. I won it the first year. It was like whatever. I ain't cared nothing about it. But then I won it the second year.
Oh, he went back to back on them hoes.
Yeah, back to back, and never done it, never thought about it. Didn't even know how it worked. I just knew to draft good players.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So that happened. And then once it happened twice, I started thinking like, well, shit, man, I might be all right at this.
You feel me?
So I play again. I don't win the third year in a row, but I make it to the finals. And then the fourth year, I don't win it, but I made it to the finals. So for the first 4 years of this league, I'm like,
success.
I'm in there, So that's 4 years of phase, and that's the only league I'm in. So that would bring me to 2012, 13, 14, 15. So 2016, I start getting in a couple more leagues.
Yep.
At work with my friends here and there. Then 2017, I know a dude named, shout out to Bill Enright, works at Sports Illustrated. He right here around the corner. I used to play flag football with him. He the person I know most out of anybody in this industry. Mm-hmm. So shout out to him.
Yeah, big up.
Me and him were talking. He's like, yo, you should start a fantasy football page. I told him, I was like, yo, I want to do this a little bit. So he said, start a page on Instagram. Well, I ain't like a regular Instagram anyway. So I was like, the only way, man, social media is if it's having to do with fantasy football. So I started a page or whatever. And I just got, better and better with the stuff and how it. And I start networking. You meet people here and there online or whatever. So that's kind of how I got into it.
And you start like the Lord does. You start saving these motherfuckers fantasy seasons, huh?
So in 2017, right? Todd Gurley's coming off of a season in 2016 in which he rushed for 881 yards.
Yep.
His sophomore season.
Yep.
After his rookie season, finishing with over 1,100. So he had the sophomore slump.
That 17 comes in. They've got the Sean McVay up in there.
They get Sean McVay. They become the best offense in the league.
And Todd Gurley was like a late third, early fourth rounder that year. So he was the value of all.
Exactly, and he ended up scoring 21 touchdowns. Now, prior to that season, I said, people, this was one of my first posts when I came up with my page. I said, people, if you really think Todd Gurley going to do as bad as he did last year, you sadly mistaken. They got a new offensive coordinator. They'll make things right.
They added Andrew Whitworth. Remember
that?
They added him, and he came over from the Bengals, and he was old, but bruh, he bolstered that line.
Well, he was old, but he not old like he is right now.
No. He was like 36 at the time, or 35, turning 36. But at
the time he had juice left in the tank.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that was one of my first proclamations was get Todd Gurley. So I drafted Todd Gurley in every league that year, and as I'm getting to my 9th and 10th post, a Monday night football game come on when the Rams and the Niners are still bad teams.
Yep.
I say the
wait.
over-under.
Was this the Thursday nighter, actually?
It was a Thursday night.
It was that Thursday night. I was at that game. And I'm a season ticket holder. I was on and in this case, this particular night, I knew one of my young boys. He was a security guard, and he used to sling them. And he was a security guard outside the VIP section where you can go out. It's all you can eat, all you can drink. You could go out to the sideline, and he was on the away team side. So I was right there behind the bench. You feel me? Like I had the goddamn bracelets, the VIP bracelets. So me and my lady, we had access everywhere. And bro, I remember I had Pierre Garçon, I had Sammy Watkins, and I had Todd Gurley. And bro, I already won that week. I killed that week right then and there. You feel me?
Well, if you had Gurley, you really did. Score twice.
Hell yeah. But I mean, I only played PPR. I remember even Pierre Garçon, he put up like dub in that game. Sammy Watkins, that was one of his only big games that year.
Right, yeah.
You feel me? So I remember that night. I'll never forget that night.
Yeah, before that game, I said, hey, the over-under on Todd Gurley rushing yards is 76. I said he going to go over and he going to score a touchdown. He got a touchdown. He got a touchdown early in the game. And then the second one was just icing on the cake. But so I said that back then, and then it just kind of, I just start going with the flow, man.
Well, I mean, you got that prophetic word. You know what I'm talking about? You got that prophecy. You're like speaking that isms, bro.
You feel me? I just think that my eyes be seeing something different than what people be looking at when they watching football. Some folks, when they watching football, and they be like, I trust what my eyes see. I'm like, your eyes must got poison poured in them right now.
Yes.
People see some crazy stuff.
I mean, in the Bible, they call that the foresight. You feel me? You got the foresight. You can see things before they happen.
That's right. Yeah, I'm foresighting right now.
Yeah, and you know what I'm saying? I mean, think about it. Little did you know you were training that foresight all your life because the way you viewed the game already. You feel me?
Yeah, man. I think a bigger part that people don't realize is actually watching how defenses run defenses like stunts through the gaps and stuff like that. You don't need it, but you don't need it. But if you know it,
if you know, you know.
It can make your analysis better.
Yeah, no, you ain't lying. See this? See Playmakers. This is we're just barely introing the show, and he's already done dropped so much ism on y'all. Continue.
Yes, like I said, you just could. It's one thing to just know the numbers, but it's another thing to know the numbers and know the game, know what you're looking at and looking for.
Yeah, to see how you could see how you could predict the numbers even. You know what I mean?
A lot of people say they be watching film.
Yeah, but are they just looking at it? You know what I mean?
I don't know if they talking about film like I watched it on TV twice, or they watching true film where you have to look from the back angle, the side angle, and the back angle again. So you know,
coach's film even.
Right, coach's film. So again, you don't need that, but if you really enjoy that and you know what you're looking at and looking for in each position, then that can help you.
Hey, no one. See, I love this intro. See, we're barely introing the show, and I love it because I did say in the intro that you's one of the baddest motherfuckers in the game, and this is partly why. You know what I mean? Like I be fucking with the all 20. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like I fuck with that because I do enjoy that shit. My kids, I got 3 kids. When they go to school, when they go to school, that's all I'm doing on a Monday morning. I'm watching all the coaches' film from the Sunday. I'm watching the goddamn, because on Sunday all I'm doing is watching Red Zone. I need all the action. But on on a Monday, I'm breaking down all the isms because I need to see. I need to see if these numbers are skewed. I need to see. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I need to see every play. I'm watching it. You can control the speed of the film. So I'm watching it fast forward so I can get through all the goddamn games. You know what I mean? Then when I see it, go ahead, continue.
It's just the thing, if you dig a little deep, you might come up to more factual conclusions.
Yeah, instead of just saying some wild shit like some of these analysts out here be doing.
that ain't gonna be me. Everything I said.
No, for sure. That's why I brought on the Lord.
Best believe if I come out there and say something, I'm expecting somebody to have pushback. So I'm going to have my facts and my research on deck.
Yep. I mean, you did say that when you was like, when I shot you the show sheet, right? You were like, listen, I got all the answers on deck. You feel me? I was like, I know he does.
Like I don't need to prepare nothing. Like
you do this thing. You
if
live
I'm about
this.
to go on a live or I'm about to do a podcast or something, I might look over what I'm finna talk about, but the numbers have been engraved already because I know and I remember what I know and I remember what I see.
Yeah. I mean, shit, bro. Like they say, seeing is believing, and like you be seeing it before it happens too. So you got the best of both worlds. You know what I mean?
Something like that.
Okay, well, check this out. You are an Atlanta Falcons fan, like you said. That's where.
Yes, sir. That's the hometown.
Yeah, that's the hometown. So now I want to talk about a little bit about the Falcons offense. You know what I mean? I want to before I pose the question, right? I want to just highlight a few things because I kind of fell out of my chair when I realized this when I was writing the show sheet for this episode. I was looking at the Falcons. They brought over years ago when Shanahan was there. You guys brought over Alex Mack from the Cleveland Browns, former first rounder. Now and then over the years. All up and down this offensive line for the Dirty Birds, all first rounders, right? Now you look at Todd Gurley, first rounder. Hayden Hurst, you traded for him from the goddamn Ravens from Baltimore, boom, first rounder. Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, first rounders. Matt Ryan, bro, you got all your whole starting lineup is all former first rounders on paper. This shit is bananas. This shit is dirtier than the dirtiest of the birds.
That shit dirtier than 28-3.
Right? You feel me? This shit dirtier than the motherfucker. It's grimy even. So now with all that shit I pointed out, do you think the Dirty Birds in the 2020 season, in fantasy and in reality, you know what I'm saying? You think they could potentially be a top 3 offense?
The potential for a top 3 offense in fantasy and in real life is extremely doable, just simply based on the teams that they got to compete with in their own division. Not to mention Aaron Rodgers, not to mention Russell Wilson, not to mention Patrick Mahomes. So they got their own division with Tom Brady and Drew Brees, and then they got those quarterbacks I just mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should be in the mix.
Yeah, it's going to be a gang of shootouts. Shootouts in the motherfucker.
Yeah. So, now as far as real football, I've never went into a season expecting the Falcons to be very good or very bad. I just kind of watched how the first few games go, and I felt like after determined or realized how the rest of the season was going to go, and if they'd make the playoffs or not or whatever. But now, today, if I just take this season, the Falcons are extremely under the radar.
They really are.
More than they've ever been. You got the top 2 leaders in passing yards. Tom Brady, Drew Brees, of course, both first ballot Hall of Famers.
Yep.
So, and that's just enough. Now you add that with the fact that the Saints have won the division consecutively, or the past 3 years, I think. You got the new and improved Bucks because of one player, kind of two, and Gronk too.
Yeah.
So the Falcons have kind of been pushed to the side. I do have the Bucks at 9-7, but I haven't figured out yet what I got the Falcons at.
Well, you know what? Too 9-7 could get 9-7 this year can get any team that's 9-7. It's possible to get into the dance with the addition of the 7 seeds in the conference.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Now that there's 7, there could be 2 or 3 teams that's 9-7.
You feel me?
I think the Saints, the Bucks, and the Falcons are all gonna hover around 9-7, and one of those teams will lose one less to get out of the race, and the other one will win one more.
One more over the other in the division, even.
Yeah.
Hey, you know the NFC. I'm a Niner fan. The NFC West is gonna be like the Wild Wild West for real. But this South is gonna be crazy, bro.
Yeah, and it's gonna be
the
like
NFC
that.
South is gonna be crazy.
Well, you got 3 of the top 10 leaders in passing yards in NFL history in one division. That's crazy.
You ain't lying.
That's crazy.
Okay, so let's break down some of these fantasy assets individually, right? I mean, obviously we know Julio is, man. Even the GOAT said he's a young GOAT. Shout out to Jerry Rice. Right.
Yeah.
So
sure.
maybe we don't
one
need
GOAT.
Yeah. So also fun fact, Playmakers. You know what I'm saying? Julio Jones. He the fastest to 12,000 receiving yards.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
That's even faster than the GOAT himself.
Yeah.
And say that. I want you to speak some facts. What was that? You said November. What was that? 2019 November. You said you knew the exact date on these hoes.
Damn, we spoke about this prior to us coming on the air.
Well, how about this? Last
I can't
November.
remember what it was.
Last November, Jerry Rice, he had came out and
That what Jerry Rice said about Julio is as recent of November 2019. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, and he said he's the best receiver in the game. So I feel like we don't really need to touch too much on Julio because anybody who doesn't have Julio at least in your top 3, man, reconsider your life. You know what I mean?
I give people leeway. I'll let them breathe and say top 5.
That's still fine. That's still fine.
Yeah. If you got them outside your top 5, that's disrespectful.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
So like you said, we don't need to, because he's just one of 4 Falcons that can end up in the top 10 at the position. If you get to Hayden Hurst,
I love Hayden Hurst.
Bro, so he's not even he ain't even a sleeper no more.
No, because too many people are talking about him.
Yeah, he ain't even a sleeper no more. But
also because look at Buddy. Look at Buddy last season. My man Austin Hooper. You know what I mean? He reminded everybody, how much the tight end position in a dirt cutter system. In the dirt cutter system, the tight end position is going to demand like anywhere from 12 to 15% of the target market share. So you know what I'm saying? And I like to believe someone like Hayden Hurst is more athletic than Austin Hooper. But
he's definitely more athletic.
Yeah.
That's just anybody who's watched him play. You could see that.
Yeah.
Austin Hooper has better catching hands, but Hayden Hurst is the faster player, the stronger player, the better blocker, and that's more important for the next guy. Todd Gurley. That's important for a guy like him who, as far as fantasy goes, if you have a late 3rd or early 3rd round, this is a player you're going to want to get just simply because of opportunity.
Yeah.
We know he's not in a true timeshare. He's in the type of timeshare where
come on, we're not tripping off of Ito Smith.
Yeah. Ito Smith will catch him on the breather. Brian Hill might catch him on the breather.
Yeah.
Todd Gurley, you get him in the second and third, he can end up giving you RB10 upside in the PPR.
I love him in that third though, like you said. I'm not mad
man.
at him.
If you get him in the third as your second running back, you straight, man.
And you know that line. That line is better than he had with the Rams last season. 100%.
It's better than he had, and it's better than it will have been last season.
Yep.
Speaking of last season, the Rams line was ranked 31st overall according to Pro Football Focus.
Yep,
so
shout out to PFF.
If Todd Gurley can become RB14 in that offense when he's the focal point, everybody's looking at him. I think he got top 10 upside playing for the Falcons.
And Brody, think about this. The amount of he's going to have a high percentage of 6-man boxes. There's no way around it. When you got Julio, and then you even got my man Coolio, because that's what I call Calvin Ridley. I call him Coolio. So you got Julio and Coolio. And bruh, and think about this. The Falcons organization, they got TG, on a 1-year contract. So they really they can run him into the dirt.
Their money's worth.
Exactly. Okay, do you worry about the arthritic knees or anything like that? I mean maybe we don't worry about it so much because of the value we'll get him, and if we can get him in that third.
Well, I got a degenerative neck issue, and it don't really keep me from living my regular life.
Yeah, your quality of life. Yeah,
it's just annoying sometimes. So I feel like that's
and
what
that's
it's
from
like
a lifetime
for him.
of football. That's from a lifetime of football.
From me,
yeah, for you.
Nah, I'm just getting old.
Okay, yeah, I'm old too. I'm in my mid-30s. You feel me? You feel me? Okay, well, I do want us to touch on one more thing with Hayden Hurst, man. It does upset me that the dumbasses in the industry that didn't know shit about him, they start listening to people like us talk about him, and then they start to push him up in ADP. So that kind of makes me upset because I was loving him as a 10th rounder, even a 9th rounder. But he's going in the 7th round now. I'm like, bro, it's still. Anyways, my man Coolio Ridley, Calvin Ridley. Bro, I love. He's one of my favorite mid-round values, bro.
He's a great mid-round value. Well, high mid-round.
Yeah,
he's
5th round.
Yeah, he's like
early
a 4th,
5th, late 4th, early 5th. You're
guy.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's good right there.
And we only play PPR Playmakers. You know us over here at the Real Fantasy Playmakers. We only fool around with PPR, and Calvin Ridley is a PPR machine.
Yeah, well, he definitely gonna get you some touchdowns because the defense gonna make sure Julio ain't getting them.
Yeah.
But and he gonna pick up that slack. He gonna ball too. He would have had 1,000 yards last year, except for his injury. So, him and Julio both gonna go
and
over 1,000.
And you know what? You know what? Fantasy football lord. You know what I'm saying? I do want to say this. You know whose value who people aren't looking at all crazy is the guy throwing them the goddamn rock.
Exactly.
Matt Ryan is one of those guys where I'm like, all right, because I'm not really an early QB guy. And Matt, and you know what's funny about Matt Ryan, and you know this because you know this team. Tell me, every time he's in a second year of a season, a second year of a system.
Second year of a system.
Yeah,
or an even year.
Yes, exactly. And in this case, he was with Dirk Cutter before. Dirk Cutter, you know what I'm saying? He was there when they drafted Julio as a rookie. It's still the second year. Yeah. Exactly. See, this is why I fuck with you. This is why I fuck with you, Lord.
Because he was there, then he wasn't, then he went back.
Exactly. And bruh.
So that's a new thing. And he did the same thing with Sarkisian and Shanahan.
Yep.
He had great years in the second year with both them coaches.
He had better years with them. Yeah. like he had an MVP year that second year with Shandog. You feel me?
Yeah, and his second year was
Sarkisian, yeah.
He actually matched those them MVP numbers, but the Falcons were 7-9, so it didn't matter.
But you know he matched the passing numbers for sure, and the completions and the QBR rating, but the touchdowns was a little lower because he had like. Didn't he have 40 with that MVP
Nah,
year?
so
he had 38.
MVP year he had 38. Then
that's right.
He had an off year, and then the next year he had 35.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and that's damn near. And you know what I'm saying, a couple drop passes in the end zone. Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say that there were subtle little football plays, subtle little plays on defense would have changed that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so it was the same year, just a different record. Worse defense, different record, But Matt Ryan is if you're not going early, he's a guy in the 9th, 10th, 11th, maybe 12th round. You can scoop up, and he's got if you go receiver, running back, and tight end,
Matt Ryan can pick up that slack, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't know a group better than that. If you go 2 receivers, a running back, and a tight end, I don't know if somebody got a better group than the Falcons when it comes to that.
Hey, I can't lie because I'm trying to think right now. I mean, maybe the Chiefs. Maybe the Chiefs.
So let's go.
But in the NFC for sure. In the NFC,
it's close because Pat Mahomes is a big gap for Matt Ryan. So that will make it close because. We'll give running back to Gurley. We'll give the wide receiver duo. But then again, tight end is another big gap.
Yeah, because they got Kelsey there, yeah.
Yeah, so it would be they up there. That's tough.
But that's the AFC. I'll say in the NFC, there isn't a stronger supporting cast for a QB than the Falcons, and I will say that.
You got Tampa, but
but we haven't seen it yet. We haven't seen it yet.
But even numbers will show that Matt Ryan has been a better quarterback than Tom Brady for the past 3-4 years.
You ain't lying.
That's just numbers that show that. But the Patriots is the Patriots, and the Patriots win. So the quarterback for the team that wins is the better quarterback.
Okay, so here's another question before we move on to the next topic. Right? We're sticking to your Falcons real quick. I got one more. This is kind of off the top of my head. Do we think that defense will turn around then? Because then, if that defense can pick, if Dan Quinn, because Dan Quinn, he was part of the architect with the goddamn Legion of Boom years with Seattle, and we seen him kind of implicate that. But then there's just y'all been riddled by injuries, so that's kind of like. But if everybody can come back in full force this year, do you think? Because a bad defense all around obviously will equal more pass attempts, more playing from behind. To actually support
their defense. So their defense, the year they went to the Super Bowl, was average. Yeah. And then the last few weeks they became elite for
really
the past
did,
3-4 weeks. So. This particular defense will be better than last season's. It's got like a middle of the road kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Because you got the few new players. Like they got Dante Fowler, but he ain't gonna get you 21 sacks or 18 or something. But if he could just be a presence, that helps them. If they could get a rookie at linebacker or DB to become like a borderline.
You think y'all should be looking player. At? You think y'all? I know Jamal Adams didn't name you guys as one of the teams, but would you like that if y'all made a play for Jamal Adams?
Would definitely like it just based on the player that Jamal Adams is.
Well, because your guys' safeties they've been getting hurt for the last couple years.
They're good, and if Jamal Adams was able to play with those safeties, they would be hell. But. It's not something some fans of teams would get in and be like Cowboys fans think they got him already.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, even some of my Niner homies, they think I'm like, no, we're not finna do that. That doesn't even work. The politics, the money, that's not gonna work. We're not. I'm like, no, that's wishful thinking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Well, you know
That's
what?
how I feel about the Falcons. But if they were
But
to
I'm
get him,
asking
I
you.
think it would be great.
I'm asking you because you are the Lord. You do see things before it happens. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you like how I'm running with that shit? Because I'm running with that. Okay.
The Lord.
The Lord. Praise the Lord.
That's how my dad used to say it, honestly.
Well, I mean, I grew up on one of my favorite movies was Coming to America. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? Like the Lord. You know what I'm saying? And I'm here to tell you about the Lord. Okay, well check us out. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna talk about the fantasy aspect in its entirety right now, and we're gonna go from the perspective of players that we're just curving. You know what I mean? Like players like we're looking, and sometimes remember you just like you said earlier when people were off Todd Gurley in 2016, you were like, hey yo, everybody, shut the fuck up. He's finna be that guy in 2017.
He's finna be that guy.
Yeah, because recency bias, people they just get mad at players. But then sometimes too, players will go off, and then people they'll be too high on them. But I'll look at the situation, the schedule, the coaching changes, whatever it is, and I might be like, no, I'm off him this year. Is there any players? Let's start with wide receivers. Is there any wide receivers that you're curving this year?
A lot of people is now that Deebo Samuels has gotten hurt and will probably miss the few first weeks of the season. The hype on Brandon Ayuk is went sky high since then.
And I'm a Niner. I'm a diehard. Even I'm not looking that way.
So I was having really big hopes for Deebo. But now people are talking about Jalen Hurd, who also was drafted by the Niners last year.
But he's like a Swiss Army knife, though. You know what I mean? Like I don't even know what he is.
He was a running back at Tennessee.
Yep. Converted to wide receiver.
Yeah, so they got him. But like a guy I'm not about to reach for, I could say, is Brandon Ayuk because of Deebo Samuels being injured. I think with Deebo being out, he can have some decent games here and there, but that's just not somebody like I'd rather wait even longer and take Jalen Reagor because of what he'll mean to the offense. Like that. Because of what he'll mean to the offense, Brandon Ayuk is similar to Deebo in a lot of ways, but I just think Deebo got a little more pizzazz, a little more shape to his game.
Yeah. I mean, you can't be named Deebo for no reason. He's taking chains and everything.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. And Ayuk got some of that in him, but Deebo is Deebo.
And come on, let's be honest. Even though Shanahan's a young coach, he's still old school minded. He was raised young in the game. Look at last year with Deebo. Shanahan's offense is very intricate. Deebo didn't even get acclimated and get full snap counts till like the middle of the year. So I mean, I don't think they're just gonna immediately plunge in Brandon Ayuk.
I mean, so the crazy thing is, like you said, it is a complicated offense, but it's a simple one because they run a lot of the same stuff, but they dress it up with like shifts and motions.
We got the highest motions in the game before snap. We had to run the highest percentage. Yep.
And they want to run the ball first, set up the pass complement. So that's just a player I'm not going to reach for. And I'll be honest. Straight up avoiding a player, I don't let that exist to me because if a player fall to you at the right value,
I did say curving, but I did write avoiding in the show sheet just in case, like you know what I mean, like there was somebody that but continue.
Yeah, what I'm saying is if there's a player that falls to me and that's like outside of his ADP, then I'm going to take him, even though I was saying. The value. Yeah, because a player I'm not drafting, I'll go to running backs now is Melvin Gordon. Ooh. Because he's in the range of Todd Gurley, Le'Veon Bell, and David Johnson. I like all three of those over him. That's just me. If you want to like Melvin Gordon, he's got the best. If you take every backup runner from the other names I just said, Melvin Gordon has the best, quote-unquote, backup.
Shout out to Lindsey.
Yeah, Aaron Lindsey is coming off 2 straight 1,000-yard seasons. So, Yeah, so that's a player. You could say I'm curving, but if he was in the 8th round, then
Yeah. Okay, well,
I'm getting that.
okay. Here's one. Here's one. I'm gonna give you a quick scenario, and then we'll get back to the players that were kind of curving.
Okay.
If Melvin Gordon was in the 4th and Jonathan Taylor was there in the 4th,
Ooh. I'm gonna go with Taylor because of the upside.
Love it.
If the players are even, you take the younger player. That's in real football. That's in fantasy too.
You hear that? You hear that? Playmakers, you got to write that thing down. The Lord has spoken. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Okay, you got any tight ends for me? I got one actually. I'm curving Austin Hooper.
I'm definitely curving Austin Hooper because what happened to him in Atlanta was
Dirk Cutter.
That's a factor. The fact that Matt Ryan loves tight ends and the fact that the receiver he plays with is Julio Jones. So all those factors could leave him
and
wide
Calvin
open.
Ridley was hurt a good amount of the year too.
And just think about that, right? We just mentioned Calvin Ridley barely, and then we mentioned Julio. Now, if you get to Cleveland, let's look at these names.
Juice.
Jarvis Landry,
Yep.
Odell Beckham, David Njoku. So Kareem Hunt, another running back.
That can catch the ball. Yeah.
So
even Nick Chubb running routes. A lot of mouths.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just never. Even before he hit free agency, I was never like really loving Hooper like that. He was wide open every time.
You ain't lying.
Yeah, so
okay.
I'm good on that. Another one I would say is T.J. Hawkinson. If I had to come up with my own, Lions have not even they ain't historically used tight ends, and when I say historically, I mean like recent history. Like Eric Ebron didn't work. You're not gonna tell me that T.J. Hawkinson is a better player than Eric Ebron. If he is, then I'm wrong, but I don't see it.
I will say, it is a Justin Bevel system. And when Justin Bevel was in Seattle, they
You mean Darrell Bevel? Yeah.
Darrell Bevel, not Justin Bevel. I'm sorry, Derek Bevel. Yeah. Thank you. I need to be accurate for the Playmakers, so I really appreciate you correcting me right there. Like, I'm keeping it a buck right there because I don't want to sound like those dudes I be shitting on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You feel me? So, anyways, yes, in the Derek Bevel system, right? You know what I'm saying? I do remember in Seattle they did actively target Jimmy Graham, but he was Jimmy Graham, so you know what I mean?
It's Jimmy Graham.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right. You know what? I tend to agree with you on that one.
Yeah. So those are, and then at quarterback Josh Allen, he was less efficient as a runner in 2019 than he was in 2018, despite the fact that he was, in fact, efficient in 2019, but it was a lot less than it was in 2018. And that's just bread and butter, and that's why I'm talking about it, because he can't throw.
You're right. And I will say, the fact that with the addition of Stephon Diggs, that is going to help him.
It's 100% going to help him.
It's going to help him run better, is what I'm saying. Is because, you know what I mean? If there's plays that you might double Diggs, you're not keeping a spy on Josh Allen. You know what I mean? Because you're going to need a spy on him.
Possibly. I don't, to be honest, I don't even think Stephon Diggs is a dude you need to be double covering. Double covering is meant for the best of the best. Stephon Diggs is a good NFL wide receiver. Better than Thielen, but I don't think he's one who has to get doubled. But if he does get doubled, then I agree with that. Yeah, for sure.
Can you agree with me on this? I like to call Stephon Diggs the poor man's Antonio Brown when it comes to his route running.
Oh yeah.
When it comes to his route running,
you could actually say that for his whole game.
Yeah,
you can say it for his whole game.
He comps very well to Antonio Brown, but he's not AB though. Let's be honest.
Yeah, no, that's what people get mad when you make a comparison. They're not making a talent comparison. They're making a player profile comparison.
There you go, Lord. Praise the Lord.
That's the difference. Like when you make a comparison, like I could be compared to, I don't know, Barry Sanders. Doesn't mean I'm as good as him, clearly, but
did you play running back? Side note. Did you play running back?
In high school I did, but in college I was mainly a corner.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, another side note. Did you play more zone? Like what did you shine in as a corner?
I would
play
say
more cover. You were more of a cover. Press.
I like to play off man coverage.
Yeah,
that was my thing.
So love it.
Because I'm a smaller corner, so if a big receiver get his hands in there, it could be game time. But if I play off coverage, but I still play man, you know what I'm saying? I could take my read steps to see what he's doing in his first 3 steps.
You can undercut some shit.
you could do all that. Yeah, for sure.
Love it. See, I love it when I'm talking to someone who actually speaks the language, Playmakers. He ain't just talking off at the mouth. You feel me? This motherfucker spins some real isms.
I know the game of football for real.
Nah, you ain't lying.
Probably the only thing I know, word for word, first page to last.
Right, like the good. He wrote the good book on football. That's why he's the Lord. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So, all right. Well, you know what? Let's you got any more curvatures that you want to highlight? I'm trying to think of some more. I'll throw one in there. I am gonna curve. The fact that you highlighted Jalen Reagor as someone that you're looking at. I'm curving. I'm curving Alshon Jeffrey. I mean, not just because of the injury, but also because.
Well, I mean that's a reason to curve him. That's part of the reason to curve him. Because he has injuries already. While I don't believe in the actual term injury prone. He's had some of the injuries in the same region of the body, so that could be due to overcompensation. So
true.
I would that's part of the reason I believe in Jalen Reagor, and they're gonna need Reagor in a lot of roles. And Alshon Jeffrey is somebody you really taking in double-digit rounds. Late double-digit rounds at this point.
Okay, I got another one. At running back, because I love this kid as a talent, and he's young. I love me some Miles Sanders, but losing Brandon Brooks, I mean, like it kind of makes me worry that the fact that if you get Miles Sanders, you got to spend that second round on him.
Yeah, Miles Sanders is a running back who is good, and he will be good with the opportunity that he gets. Usually the Eagles under Doug Peterson run multiple running backs. They run a committee.
Exactly. Or a timeshare at minimum.
And, they haven't signed a veteran, which most people are expecting them to do. Yeah. But they re-signed Corey Clemens, and I believe they still got Boston Scott. And those
Boston Scott's there,
Scott filled in admirably, so maybe
did.
Those will be his backups, but right now, Miles Sanders, he's a early teens type of running back for me right now, early to mid teens.
Okay, so I should have really, I'm taking him off my list because I love Miles Sanders, bro. I was just, because I mean PFF did have Brandon Brooks as the number 1 rated tackle. You know what I mean? And how about this? Speaking on the curving. I'm kind of curving Carson Wentz in that sense too, because he's a late round value. Like people are off him.
So I had him in my top 5 going into last year, and I think he ended up as number 9. So I take that, and the fact that he did it without a receiver who gained more than 500 yards,
yeah, for real,
pretty good.
It's phenomenal.
So I think what you saw in his MVP type year in 2017, Yeah. What you saw then and what you saw last season, this season, you'll get a mix of that and you'll see how good he is. But I would definitely take him in double-digit rounds as far as fantasy.
Yeah, and in super flex because I love super flex as well. I'm not curving him in super flex. I love him as my second or even my third. You know what I mean? Because in super flex, I tend to end up with 3 QBs. I don't fuck around. You know what I mean? I gotta make sure I'm good. I'm good. You know what I mean?
For sure.
If I got Carson as one of my 3, I'm ecstatic. You know what I mean? Because of the weapons they got him this time around. You know what I mean? And they literally ran the highest percentage of 12 personnel. Because I mean, you should. You got Ertz and Goddard, so you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. So, for this last topic, you know what I mean? I mean, I know you do. I know you do a ton of mock drafts. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
I do them here and there.
Oh, okay.
Actually.
Well, okay. Well, how about this then? When you're doing them here and there, who are some of those double-digit round guys that you tend to be, finding on your roster a lot? Like, some of those guys you tend to be targeting because they're always, they finna be there.
Well, I mentioned one earlier. That's Jalen Reagor.
Yeah.
There's Noah Fant, tight end from the Denver Broncos, who's there late.
I love him. I love the fact that they drafted. You want to know my Noah Fant take? So, first of all, you got Pat Shurmur there. Pat Shurmur is going to run a lot of 12 personnel. This is just what he does. You know what I mean? And maybe not as high as Doug Peterson, but he's going to run 12 personnel. And people were on Noah Fant until the draft when they drafted Albert O. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And see, here's my Noah Fant take.
That did nothing for me.
It did nothing for me neither. Matter of fact, it made me even have you're gonna realize this with Bogard. Me myself, I like to come up with funny ass points to make that make me laugh. And Noah Fant, just like in the Bible, what did Noah do? He needed 2 of everything. And just the fact that they got 2 tight ends over there, I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? That only makes me like him more because he's still a rookie tight end, Albert O. Rookie tight ends, it's the same way that dumbasses were on TJ Hawkinson last year. You know what I mean? Like, bro, just because TJ Hawkinson had all this hype, he's still a rookie tight end. Rookie tight ends in general don't come in. They don't come in into their game until later on in their careers.
It is hard to do.
Yeah, you feel me? So, give me some Noah Fant really late. Especially the fact that people are talking up my Hayden Hurst, who I was actually on late until the whole entire fucking industry started talking him up.
Yeah.
Hey,
he's no sleeper because I could have answered that too for double-digit round. But that's easy though. That's why I went Noah Fant.
But also because, you know what I'm saying, one of the most important positions to diagnose in fantasy is the tight end position. Like last season, I was all about Mark Andrews. I was all about Darren Waller. You know what I'm saying? Now it's like you're trying to find that new crop this year. Who's that new crop of guys? So like all right, okay, how about this? Speaking of tight ends, you know who I'll be finding on my rosters double digits? Is the goddamn Jonnu Smith. You know what I mean?
That's another one that could serve you well. That could serve you real well.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Especially with that play action run offense and stuff.
You want to know what's another crazy one though, bruh?
It's a lot of them. That I'm willing to reach for Mahomes or Lamar. I ain't willing to reach for Kelsey, Kittles, or Ertz. I'd rather just take my chances with Jonnu Smiths and Noah Fant and Hayden Hurst.
And I might even have both the Jonnu Smith and Noah Fant in a league because I'm gonna take so I can see which one's gonna pan out for me. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Both of them could, and then you got trade bait.
Exactly. Praise the Lord.
That's right, man.
Okay, I actually said this one to you off air. Another guy that I always end up with in mock drafts, you know what I'm saying, is Anthony Miller.
Yeah.
So here's one, like you said, like you even told me off air, he's not great, but he's also not good. But like, it's the type of player that I can acquire. He'll be like my WR5, and I'll be able to cut ties without losing sleep. But I do like. All right, so now remember with me, Lord. Remember last season, everybody was on D.D. Westbrook, all crazy.
Yeah.
Right, because he was going to be the slot receiver in a John DeFilippo system. You know what I mean? Now remember even further when John DeFilippo was with the Eagles. Remember they needed, Nelson Aguilar wasn't working out, so they traded for Golden Tate. And granted, with D.D. Westbrook, he had some cool games, but the hype was super there. Now you got John DeFilippo over there in Chicago. And you got Nick Foles, who's familiar with the system, who I think is going to beat out Trubisky.
He should.
Yeah, I know, right?
And a bust.
For real.
But the draft pick was a bust, too, so.
Yeah. And shout out to my Niners. We definitely bamboozled the Bears on that one.
Oh, man, that was the most
obvious
finesse. That was the most obvious finesse I've seen in a draft since probably 2000.
Yeah.
Big time finesse.
Yeah, that was a finesse job at its finest. But so back to Anthony Miller, you know what I mean? I mean, there's no more Taylor Gabriel, who they did move in and out of the slot. You know what I mean? But it's just the value I'm gonna get on him. He's basically for free. You know what I mean? And a guy.
Yeah, if you in anything in the 13th, 14th, and beyond, and
yeah,
you even a little earlier than that, to be honest.
Yeah, I've been getting them in the 12th. Like, how about this? When I get in, here's another guy. When I'm in that area, I'll be looking at Denzel Mims a lot too. I'm willing to take a shot on the rookie.
So that's another one you could take. Now him really after 13, 14.
For sure.
The wide receiver class is so deep, and at this point, you can't really think that every single one of them gonna be good. Like, right? Like people say, Justin Jefferson gonna do this, Michael Pittman gonna do this, Brian Ayuk gonna do this, Rager gonna do this. Well, somebody gotta be bad, and somebody in the late round gotta come out the dark, right? It always happens.
Sure does. I mean,
so that's just something to think about.
Matter of fact, it happened for Anthony Miller his rookie year.
Exactly. Hey, do you remember how Alan Hearns came on and made a career?
I sure do.
Undrafted. So.
Yep. Bro, Alan Hearns went in that year with a bad QB. Him and Allen Robinson were murdered that year. They were murdered.
Allen Robinson, yeah, man.
Shout out to Allen Robinson. I won fantasy championships because of him that year.
Yeah, he a dog. He proved that.
I mean, you know what's crazy? All right, so I got in arguments with plenty of my with my colleagues because I would compare Allen Robinson's career situation to DeAndre Hopkins' career situation. Now, not as talents, I'm not comparing them, but I'm talking about the level of QB play they had to deal with. Granted, DeAndre Hopkins had Watson at one point, but I mean, Allen Robinson
makes up for the fact that Bortles was actually better than anybody that Hopkins had before Watson.
That's true.
Bortles had one decent year.
I mean, especially in fantasy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, fantasy. That's more so what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I think it was 2015. I was so good in the league one time that the whole league got mad because I wanted to give up Stephon Diggs for Blake Bortles.
But Bortles was balling. He was the garbage time king.
Yeah, right.
Even in 2017, bro, I won a fantasy championship with Bortles at the helm. That year, I had Carson Wentz everywhere. When I lost Carson Wentz, I went and swooped up Bortles off the waiver.
Just think, man. People actually drafted Blake Bortles in fantasy.
That's what I'm saying. And then they ended up dropping. It's crazy. It's a crazy world we live in, right?
Yes, sir.
And that's why they need the savior. And that's why, Playmakers, I brought to you the fantasy football Lord. Hey, you got any more? You got any more to highlight? If not, we can close this thing up. Cause I know you got things to do.
I'll just close it with this, man.
Okay.
I'm gonna put out my stuff. I'm gonna put it out to the best of my ability. I ain't looking for your clicks. I'm looking for the results of the research that I've taken. That's what I'm looking for. Results of the research that I've taken within this game. So that's what I'm giving to y'all. Lord, don't lose. That's it.
And I do want to say, one of his greatest isms that resonates with me, Playmakers, as he said, it ain't about the following. It's about building. It's about networking, building these great relationships.
Yes, sir.
And just bringing the great vibes. You know what I'm saying? And
that's it.
You definitely brought that to this episode, my brother. I appreciate you.
Man. You too, man.
I really appreciate you, man. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, you know what I'm saying, if I have any kind of foresight myself, I think we're going to do this thing again one day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely, man.
You feel me?
Definitely.
And I am going to have all your links in the description of this episode. But go ahead one more time, let them know. You know what I'm saying? From the top to bottom, where they can find the Lord.
At Fantasy Football Lord, everything. At Fantasy Football Lord, everything except Twitter. That's Lord Don't Lose.
Lord Don't
There
Lose.
we are.
My brother, thank you again, man. You have a good one. You be safe. And you know what I'm saying? Let's keep on shitting on these analysts that think they know what it is. You feel me?
You know, I could do that, or I could just do my thing, worry about what I do, and try to do the best.
But that is shitting on them, though.
then I'll take it.
Yes. Man, thank you again, brother. You have a good one.
All right, you too.
Hey. Y'all have a good one, Playmakers. Praise the Lord.